Look, she's nervous.
I'm assimilating to the sense of having the headphones and the sound coming through.
So the trick is, I heard somebody say this, is that if you have a group of people and the headphones are on, it forces people to listen to each other. Instead of, like in normal conversation, there's, you know what I mean? So it kind of goes like, are you paying attention? And, that'll happen. Nothing?
No.
Didn't you do other podcasts before? Yeah. What were the other podcasts you did?
So podcast, I did Pop Goes. And
how was Pop Goes? I love Pop Go.
It was on my computer.
What do you do, like a Zoom
thing? Yeah.
Into the microphone.
Sorry, into the microphone.
Yeah, they don't have that problem on Zoom.
No. I did On the Stacks though, and that had a microphone.
Yeah. So what? Tell me about that dude, because I try to not that I don't not watch. I just haven't had a time to watch. What's the story with that?
Bill.
Because he just signed a deal or something with the leader, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
And he signed something with Amazon too. They're pushing his podcast.
That's great.
Has huge reach. He interviews people, hears their story, and how they overcame obstacles.
Is that what most of it is?
Yeah.
So it's tell me your tragedy and then tell me how you made it to here.
Yeah. I feel like it's just telling your experience and personal growth.
I wonder how he got into that.
I have no idea.
Well, I mean,
why are you whispering?
I don't know why.
Everybody is talking very quietly right now, and that's a problem.
So you can talk loud. It's okay. Why how did you get, how did he reach out to you?
I think we connected on socials.
Does he reach out, or does he have a booking person, or stop laughing, Jamie?
No, he personally reached out and we connected, and then I think we had to reschedule because I was having a personal meltdown.
Were you
doing a podcast?
Were you really?
Probably. I have so much anxiety.
Why?
Why
do you get it from Jamie?
No, I get.
She's a ball of nerves over there.
Yeah, look at her.
My personal experience growing up.
So I've had anxiety since I was 15, and I remember it very vividly. I was in high school. There was a football game between Abington Heights and Scranton Prep up at the Lackawanna County Stadium. Mm-hmm. And I didn't eat anything for 2 days, but I did drink 4 liters of Mountain Dew, which I didn't think anything at the time. It's you're 14, 15 years old. And then I got home that night, and it was it's football season, so it's chilly. And I got home that night, and apparently there was I was going to talk to a girl, which was exciting for me. So I remember talking to her, and then I was in my parents' basement, and I remember this feeling of claustrophobia and dread, and I'd never experienced that before. So I immediately, for a young male talking to a girl to be I have to go, is a strange thing. And my father came downstairs about 10 minutes later, and I was standing outside with all of my clothes off minus my underwear because I felt like I couldn't breathe. And he's like, "What's going on?" And I said, "I think I'm dying." Mm-hmm. And I remember that I made him run every light all the way up to CMC. We were on Mulberry Street. He blew through every red light, got me there, went inside, which is the great thing about the hospitals, because if you say you're having chest pains, you get right in. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so if you break your leg, go to the hospital and be like, "My chest." They'll get you right in. So when I got in there...
Don't go to regional.
Which one's... Oh, is that right up the hill? If you have chest pains?
Yeah, I had chest pains, and I sat in the waiting room, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Isn't that obscene?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. There was nobody else there, too. I was like, okay.
They just wanted to... They wanted to watch you die in the waiting room so that in the closed circuit security camera, they could put it up on one of those...
Vine?
Yeah, they're going to make a Vine of it. Look at this poor girl waiting. We'll get back to that. So so the doctor came in, and that was they gave me something called lorazepam, which I didn't realize at the time was Xanax. And I was like, oh my God, this feeling went away. But so in the next 9 months, I think I got rushed to the hospital about six times. And it was the last one. My mother was with me, and my mother, she was a teacher in West Side, and she goes to me, they're going to give you a shot in your ass. And I'm like, they're not going to give me a shot in my ass. Like every time I come here, like they'll give me like a lorazepam or something and I'll leave. Sure as shit, they came in and gave me a shot in my ass. And I was fine after that. And then the time before that, I told this story once on a story slam. Are you freaking out? Am I losing you here?
No,
Okay.
I'm learning so much about you.
So the time before the last one, the shot in the ass, I was with my father again, and the doctor comes in. This is a true story. This is all a true story. Ever tell you this one, Dan?
I don't think I've ever heard this one.
Okay, so I go there having a panic attack, knowing that I need something. So the doctor comes in and he asks my father to leave the room. And he goes, I need you to turn on your side. And he goes, I need you to pull your pants down. And panic attack me is like, yeah, whatever. And I turn on my side and I hear like the snap, and then I hear like the of the jelly. And he gave me a rectal exam right there. But my panic attack went right away. It was gone. So a couple of months later, my neighbor was one of the doctors over at the hospital we went to. And my dad's outside tinkering with his race car. And the doctor comes up and he's hanging out. And my father looks at him and he goes, can I ask you a question? And he goes, yeah. He goes, is it normal that if you go to a hospital with like chest pains and you're having a panic attack to get a rectal exam? And the doctor goes, no, not at all. And he goes, who did that? And my father said the doctor's name. And I swear to God, this was the response. He does that to everybody.
He just gives everybody
he
a
gives
rectal.
everyone a rectal exam. It's just like, oh, you have a toothache? Here's your rectal exam. So it leads me to believe that not all doctors know what they're doing. So that's been my battle with anxiety like the whole time. And I recently found out like since during COVID was that a lot of it comes from trauma that you don't even recognize. And I was listening to this woman. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much. You're the guest, but
no, I totally align with the trauma.
Okay.
Causing anxiety. I fully believe.
So this doctor was working for the NHS, which is the National Health Service, which is like Britain's version of like public health. And she felt like she wasn't being effective. And she went into the private sector to work with psychedelics. But she talked about like how much value that she had and how much efficacy she was having with her patients.
Yeah.
And when she explained trauma to me, I really, for some reason in that moment when she said it, I could send you the interview one day if you ever want to see it, but it really just resonated with me because she goes, human beings, up until they're 7 years old, they have like their programming. Mm-hmm. Basically, who you're going to be for the rest of your life is after 7, right? So all the habits, the things that you see, the traumas you endure, the shit that happens, up until 7 is kind of like where they think that's about it. She goes, so whether you realize it or not, you still have a memory when you're born. So when you're born, the actual act of birth, by definition, is a trauma. And the one that really got to me as she's going through these ideas of trauma was she got to, she goes, let's say you're a young child who's home with their mother and their mother goes to the grocery store for the first time. As a young child, you don't know that your mother is coming back. You don't have the concept of a grocery store. You just feel abandonment.
Yeah.
And that's a trauma in and of itself that could decades down the road still affect you to a degree that you don't even fully understand. And that was kind of like where I started to like, oh, okay, like there's a root to all this stuff. And it's not just like I was born with a chemical imbalance or I'm a crazy person or any of that stuff. It just that for some reason it clicked with me in that moment where I was like, oh, it does come. There's a root for every problem that I have. Yeah. There's like that nexus point.
Yeah, that's where I'm at in my growth process.
Right now?
Especially with my mental health. Yeah, trying to find the connections to the trauma from my past and like the ways to overcome and process and grow.
Well, you had
so
an interesting upbringing, didn't you? Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Hawaii, but I grew
Hawaii.
Yeah, Hilo, Hawaii. And then I grew up in upstate New York in a small country town called Jordan Elbridge.
Do you know Jordan Elbridge?
I don't know.
Well, you're up there going to Woodstock often. I was just wondering.
No, I go to like Ithaca, kind of as far as I go.
okay.
To like, yeah.
Okay, so if you know Skinny Atlas.
Oh yeah, halfway between Minneapolis and Schenectady. That's a joke for one person that I know. That
Yeah,
will
but
never see
for
this.
some reason I got it.
It's hilarious, isn't it? It makes no sense. Though.
It's a terrible joke. It's funny as hell. So you're by Schenectady.
No, Skinny Atlas. It's
Well, you're by-
the Clintons have a. That's how Hillary
A compound?
got to be. Oh, that's how she got to be the senator of New York.
'Cause she bought a house there?
in Skinny Atlas. Yeah.
That's all you gotta do.
That's how it
Don't you find this like obscene that like I want
That
to
we
be a
let that happen?
That we let that happen.
That all of America was just like,
Yeah.
well, she's not from New York, but she has a house. Oh well, she
Yeah,
bought one in like rural New York, so like, okay, she's a senator here now. Like,
That's so fucked up?
You got property. If you have money, you can buy some property.
Yeah, but you see, but that was so. Hillary Clinton moves there and makes it impossible for like people that you know to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, would you? Oh, I bought land. Yeah, that I'm qualified now. Anyways, keep going. Rural town.
Rural town, and my upbringing was kind of like a sad story. Dealt with a lot of childhood trauma.
What was the environment like? So, like you say, small town, right?
I
Is there
grew
anything
up-
comparable to it around here?
I mean,
Like Oliphant?
maybe like Knoxon.
Oh, real? Oh, it was like that.
Like we had tractor day. My high school English teacher rode a giant John Deere tractor
To school?
To school on tractor day.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
You didn't like
And then taught Shakespeare.
really?
Yeah.
He's preaching Hamlet. She in the winter.
No, it was.
This
probably
is
like
unbelievable.
spring.
Tractor Day sounds like a spring kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was a spring thing. They
Mid fall.
a lot
Oh,
of
yeah,
the schools
pumpkins.
in the area used to do it, but they had to stop because a kid at another school fell off, ran over himself with a lawnmower because he was drinking and driving. So tractor day got nixed after that.
Because the high school kid was drinking and driving tractor.
Is riding lawnmower. It wasn't just tractors. Like they would tractors riding lawnmowers.
This sounds amazing.
We don't live too far from these places. We're like a town removed from this kind of life.
Yeah, but you know that if you go up to Amanda's birth or not her birthplace, but her town, they're gonna be like, "Who are these boys?" Don't you think?
Us?
Yeah. Well, maybe if I wear my cowboy hat, and my cowboy boots, I might be able to like get away with it for a little bit, and then I'll be like, "They have grits in New York."
We could blend in pretty well, I think.
Yeah, we're good blenders.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jamie? I mean, you've visited Jordan Elbridge.
Oh, I think they could blend in.
You think we could blend in?
Yeah.
Well, could you? Okay, with that hat, can you blend in?
No.
You don't think so? You don't think people are gonna be like, "Oh, she's like a girl we don't know who's got a hat with a book report in it."
No. I don't think I would blend in there.
But is it like a quiet town or is it like just a jerk town?
It's like a small, like, used to be canal town kind of vibe. Like
What's
I
a canal
graduated
town?
with 100 kids. It's right on like the Erie Canal, maybe? I could be mistaken. I'm
Why are
very
you
bad with
Why are you talking so
geography.
quietly? Amanda,
Sorry.
please be quieter. You know it's a microphone and it amplifies your voice. You can do whatever you want to do.
My bad. Yeah, it's just like a small, like, it was just a very, like, I think I had a stoplight in my town.
Well, it's just so interesting because you're an artist. Like, and we were just talking about like up to 7 years old, you get your programming. Like, how did you become an artist out of that?
I like to escape boredom and my
You weren't just walking down the street with a stick and what's that little roundy thing that they do?
Oh, the hoop and the stick
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah.
No,
The
I was,
tire
like,
on the big
riding
tire on the
my
bicycle.
bike and skateboard around town.
So I mean, so were you like the odd one? Like when did you leave there?
College, like I left for college and
Oh,
never
so you
went
grew
back.
all the way up.
Yeah, high school, probably from first grade through senior year of high school. Graduated from the small town, came to Marywood. That's what brought me to this area.
Yeah, my mom went to Marywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like as soon as I went to college, I never went back.
Not even to visit?
Like a little bit. I've done some like career days at my old high school.
No shit, really?
I go and talk about being an artist and making a living from being an artist.
Do all the like 11 and 12-year-olds with their dip of chew in their mouth agree?
They're high schoolers. They just like kind of stare at you. I mean, it's been a couple years since I've done one, but
Yeah, but that's pretty cool to go do that.
yeah.
So, okay. So what was growing up like, the teen years? Was it terrible or was it good? Was there...
Teen years.
And then we'll get to you, Jamie.
I mean, I was
Yeah.
really angsty.
We're going to get you off Wellbutrin.
I was really angsty. Listened to a lot of hardcore music.
What were you listening to?
Like Bane, Comeback Kid,
Really?
Haste the Day.
Really? My wife's into like Viking death metal,
Okay.
which is really bizarre. And I'm like, we should play more Coldplay Fix You. Yeah. Like, that's what I like to hear.
Train goes over very well on the campfire
Train is,
nights.
Train is America's greatest unrecognized rock band.
I think they get a lot of attention.
They don't get enough attention.
Maybe.
Okay. Angsty.
Yeah, and so like I was in my head a lot. So
Do you mind talking about this stuff? Are you cool with talking about? Oh, okay.
It's pretty public
Yeah.
knowledge.
Oh, you did like a doc.
Yeah. Just let it all hang out. I think cried on it.
Warts and all.
Yeah.
What was that about for people who don't know? That doc.
It was my friend and I did a collaboration just talking about my journey and what inspires me to create. So I talked about using my pain and trauma and turning that into creativity, and by sharing it, just kind of reducing the stigma of.
Do you hear Dan turning you up?
I do hear Dan turning me up. The stigma behind mental health, that like a lot of my anxiety relates to my trauma from growing up, and
What's like the stigma between
just like talking about mental health publicly. Like a lot of my pieces are inspired by.
You could hit that. That's okay. This is like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. There is no mistakes. Like everything's allowed.
Like my anxiety. I mean, it can be debilitating where I will physically get sick or can't even get out of bed. So.
When did that start?
I mean, I've always felt that.
You think like since a baby you felt that?
10, I can probably remember feeling like pressure, as well as like a deep feeling of loneliness and solitude.
But was that like you? Okay, so we were talking before about like roots. Do you think there was a root that led to that? Do you think there was like an inciting incident that led to that?
Oh, I'm sure. So I grew up with a single mother, and because of her style with parenting and choices she made, I definitely felt like alone. The brunt of a lot of her stress from outside sources, and because of that, I think I've developed into somebody who's very empathetic and sensitive, but also super anxious as a result of those feelings.
Well, you're probably an empath. Do you think you are?
Definitely.
Yeah. So when you left Hawaii, do you say Hawaii or do you say
Hawaii?
Hawaii. There's like a soft V.
I mean, that's. I believe that's.
I'm a stupid person. I'm just trying to
pronunciation.
ask to learn. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's my slogan, Dan? I don't understand.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was very young. I visited a few times in middle school and high school, but I was very young when I left Hawaii. So most of my growing up and fundamentals happened in upstate New York. So Jordan.
So was your dad in Hawaii? And did they get divorced? Is that what happened?
They weren't married. Yeah.
Okay, so
it's a complicated thing, but
I mean, I don't necessarily think you need to have a contract to be a good parent.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't around. He wasn't involved at all.
Was he from Hawaii?
From my knowledge, yes, we didn't really have much of a relationship. I know, like,
so my wife would call that a sperm donor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say both of my biological parents
were sperm donors.
Yeah. Donors to bring me into the present.
The ether.
Yeah.
So your mom really wasn't. Do you have a relationship with your mom now?
No.
Not at all.
No, I set boundaries for my own mental health and stability. Cut her off. She's blocked on all
Everything.
channels, phone number. Yeah.
So when you say like outside problems, right? Is it like the people she's dealing with, and she brings that back?
I just think she didn't know how to deal with life and never maybe tackled her own demons.
That could be true.
And, that generational trauma came down on me, but I'm at a point in my life and growing where like, I don't want that to continue. So I have to make a change. And
It's like that Shaq meme where he's brushing away bad vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great example. I try to brush
Shaq.
away
Yeah.
bad vibes.
So because I'm trying to give like context to get to today.
Yeah.
Right. Because
Yeah.
I think that growth is important and moving through life is, minus Jamie. I don't know her shit. She just kind of bum rushed this place. So I'm kidding. We happily asked you to be here. What were some of the things that, like, without being like specific or detailed about that, like, was it just like nobody was there? It was like kind of like you were on your own.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have brothers and sisters, right?
No,
So you're an only child?
Yeah.
No
I was
shit.
on my own.
From like 10.
Like, I probably felt alone, around there, maybe even younger.
And
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I have an aunt that I'm very close with and a cousin, and we're very involved with their family, and, like, they are who I would consider my side of my family.
Right.
But, like, parents, I would say I felt very alone and on my own from a very young age.
Jesus. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, that's the end. Thanks for telling us the story.
What a week.
This is how we grow.
So when was that? So when did you start doing art then? In the midst of that?
Yeah, I mean, I've
Like,
always
what did you
had-
start with?
I
Listening to the devil's music.
I was always interested in art in school. Even though I went to a rural school, we had a great art program. So, you could always find me sketching, drawing, or like painting with whatever I had. And from there, I was inspired to follow that to study graphic design. So that brought me to Marywood and here. And graduating Marywood, I used my design degree and worked at various places, such as The Weekender.
That's where we met.
Yeah, when I was the creative director.
Yeah, but how'd you get into photography? Because you were doing the photos too.
I
Or was that
was.
like,
That's-
we don't want to pay a photographer?
I mean, that was
Amanda,
a part
can
of
you
my
get a camera?
intern, and then I freelanced. So, I did get paid eventually.
Yeah, but did they ask you to do that where it was like, because, okay, so you've seen what cameras look like, Jamie.
Yeah.
Okay, so back then we used to use film. Or as they would say from here, no, before that, before digital,
Yes.
or as they'd say around here, film.
Film.
Yeah, so we'd get like 24 to 36 exposures. Click, you're done. You can't see it. You have to develop it, right? So then what happened was,
Film
is they, I don't know what film is.
I said I know what film
Okay,
is.
yeah. Well, if I mansplain something to you, you can just you can throw that statue at me.
Not the
So
statue.
that's a great statue, isn't it?
It's yeah.
Yeah. Look at that.
No.
It's got a firm hold.
I call it my Greco-Roman handjob wrestling statue. There's a funny story. Okay, you watch Sons of Anarchy, right? You like
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah.
So the producer of that show was telling me a story about he used to wrestle in high school, and he was like 0-17 or something, right? So he was telling me about this statue that he got, and he's like, I just can't like throw it away, like it's gross, like it's stupid. And I'm like, I will take that statue if you will bring that statue in. I didn't think anything about it. And like 2 weeks later, he comes in, and on the bottom of it, those little what are those things? Those label maker machines? On the bottom, it said 0-17. So he gave that to me. I put that in my suitcase and came back from LA with that in there because I was so overwhelmed with his giving. And it's the funniest thing I've ever seen because that statue comes from another piece of art from like 2,000 years ago. Which I'm like, that's how they used to wrestle back then? It's like, to me, that's a submission. I think the wrestling match is over once you grab that. For those who can't see, we've shown it before. Do you want me I can't show it. I won't show it. So,
man.
anyways, so what was I talking about? Do you remember?
No, you always kind of lose me when you start talking about the ham jobs.
Yeah. So, okay. So, art. What kind of art were you doing at the as when you were doing it at the very beginning? Like, what was the first things that you remember?
I mean,
Oh no, cameras. So we used to have film. Film. It's kind of like the people around here who say A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P.
1 2 3.
So to bring it back to you, when they made digital still cameras, Reuters lobbied Canon to add a video feature, so they didn't have to pay for a videographer and a photographer, and that's how we got the cinema DSLR cameras. Just thought you should know. I went through handjob wrestling to get there, so I'm happy that I was able to maneuver that for you.
That was amazing.
You're very welcome.
Beautiful.
Okay, what kind of art did you do at the very beginning?
Smooth.
Talking to you is like talking to Jamie, so it's great. This
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
totally normal for me.
Okay, so she sits there and gives you the same look? Yeah, just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
You're like, no, a snail. It was a fast one. So did you start off like with stencils or like charcoal or like what?
Acrylic paint and
Oh, really?
Film photography.
So you've been in a dark room.
Yeah, pottery.
I didn't mean it
too.
that way. I'm sorry. Like an actual dark room
Yeah,
to expose.
black and white film.
I love black and white film.
Yeah.
I love it. That's why on my Instagram posts, because I don't know how to color, they're all black and white. Every one of them.
Really? I never noticed that.
Go through my Instagram. You see all these black and white photos. I'm like, I got the tone right. I can get it. It's not overexposed. I'm in a good place.
Oh man, color film is the worst.
It's terrible.
I've done it. It's awful.
So when I was in film school, they had we had to like bid for jobs, right? And I always like bid for director because I'm an egomaniac. But the one time I got the cinematographer thing, and I was terrified about like what to do because you have to have like the spot meter, the incident meter, and you're working on film, and there is no takebacks in film. Like what you get is what you get. If it's fucked, it's fucked. And so I shot like somebody was directing. I told him what to do, and thank God I was outside. And then the next day we went to the color house, and the color house lady, I was like, I have no idea what you're gonna see. I have no idea what it's gonna be. And at the end of it, she was like, honestly, yours is the one that needed the least amount of work. And I was like, no shit, I don't ever want to do this again. So I've never like harnessed that craft of just be like painting with light.
Oh man, yeah.
But you see things in a way that I don't see things. Like I see it like all put together, like moving. You probably see things as like one captured moment that you wanna.
Yeah, I see like things as feelings that I want to capture or emotional expression I want to capture.
So explain that to me so I understand that because I'm an idiot. So when you see an emotion, like what do you see?
I just so for if I'm doing photography, I want to capture something that evokes the audience to feel something.
So you have a plan beforehand.
Not necessarily.
You're just waiting to see what happens?
Looking for opportunities and creating situations where those opportunities are more likely.
So how does that work? Because I don't know how to do that. I'm just like, yeah, you walk over there. You're good.
It's like a little bit of that, some directing, also making like whoever I'm working with, if it's a photography job, feel comfortable and feel
Like the client.
yeah.
Yeah.
Make them feel like I'm their best friend and like I'm somebody that it's safe to open up and feel vulnerable around.
Do you find I find that incredibly difficult in our business? Because a lot of people, like the higher up people, like they sometimes when I work with, you know, like let's say I get like subcontracted out from like an ad agency, and they have a client, right?
Yeah.
So they have like the business that they're working with. They get real nervous about the way that I talk to people.
Really?
Well, yeah, because I'm like, this is how I talk to everybody.
Yeah, but then like you're relatable.
I think they come from like this. So speaking of like generational trauma, I think that they learned all these behaviors where it's like you have to have like this stoic, like you have to change your behavior to be around certain people. And I never found the value in that. I always thought that like no matter it, like from the person who lives out of their car to the person who has like 18 beach homes, you should talk to them all the same way.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah,
I
and a
think-
lot of people get real sketched out about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you're just authentic and you're comfortable with yourself and being who you are.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm terrified all the time.
But you're comfortable in being
Terrified.
just being okay with that. You
I'm
know
like
what
the
I mean?
kid chained to the grate in the basement, and I'm like, it's good. It's okay. They gave me a ball.
There's a small window over there. The sunlight comes in every now and then. It's all right. I saw
don't
a cat
reflect.
once and might have been a raccoon.
Or a raccoon dog.
Can you relate to being changed?
Oh my god.
Wait, were you chained up?
No, not like
You fucking kidding me?
not like in a bad way. Well, I mean, my brothers were like
She grew up with
assholes.
two brothers. So
I was
let's
locked in the
preface
basement for
it.
like a couple hours. I mean,
That's just because your parents don't like you. They were punishing
it
you.
was my brothers.
Wait, so you grew up with two brothers, older or younger, or you're in the middle?
I'm the middle.
You're the middle.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So my little brother.
How much older?
All right, so Josh is.
Talk into the microphone, Jamie.
Oh, I was thinking. I don't know. So
The microphone can't hear that. So your brother is how much older?
5 years. Hang on. How old? I don't even know how old.
Best guess.
Nobody knows to this answer.
3 from my younger brother to me, and then 5, I think, between me and my older brother.
Oh, so you got that must have been brutal. My
Like,
mother.
we were like fairly close, so like, I mean, my older brother not really, but
So my mother was one girl out of 5 children. So her brothers were that's all she had was brothers. So she had 3 older brothers and 1 younger brother. And
That's awful.
she was brutalized. I mean, like, they all get along now, but like at the time, like when you're growing up in the 60s and the 70s, man, it is not kind.
You're on your own.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I think that made my mom like the strong woman that she is now. Like my mom, I didn't realize it, most of growing up, but my mom is like, my mom and my dad are pretty much like heroes of mine. Now that I think about it, because I'm like, you don't get a rule book for this, like to raise kids. And it's so hard. Like everybody does it a different way,
Yeah.
and some people are really good at it and some people really aren't good at it.
Yeah.
They weren't made for it.
Definitely.
Or they didn't care enough to like do it right.
Or they, chose to have children for the wrong reasons.
I don't think there's ever like a right. Not okay. Let me explain this. I don't think there's ever like when people say like I'm waiting for the right moment. I don't think there is a right moment because you could potentially be waiting forever for that moment. So I think when it comes to kids, I think that's more like a shooting star. Most people don't plan for that. They like to practice, and then all of a sudden they're like, uh-oh.
So I'll disagree with that. I think like if you're making the intention
We should fight about
to
all
have
of
a
this.
child.
Yes, let's fight. Yeah. If you're okay, so go back again.
Okay, so if you're making the intention to have a child
Right.
to not be lonely, then that's the wrong reason.
So, in other words, like I need a friend. I'm making a friend.
I'm making somebody who has to love me.
Okay.
So you could have a child for the wrong reason.
I totally agree with that. But
that's a very specified thing.
I think a lot of people do that. I think more than people realize there's someone who's just like really lonely and they're just like, I need it's in that case, just get a dog.
Right? Or fish.
Yeah.
Low maintenance.
Well, dogs love you with like, that's the thing about a dog. Like no matter what I don't believe in beating animals, but like if you ever hit a dog, like the dog's always going to be like, you're still my friend, right? Like they don't understand anger in that way.
Yeah.
Or like there's nothing better than having a bad day and coming home to it. I think dogs feel everything that if they love their owners, they feel it too. I think that they're empathetic.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Do you have dogs?
We have a golden doodle.
Oh, they're the
And
best.
he is. He's so fluffy right now.
Mine's shedding like a bastard. It's terrible. If I could show you like massive amounts of hair, because I have a 150-pound dog.
Oh, ours.
You got to come over and see our dog, man. Our dog's, it's a big Kangal. It's awesome. It's the best dog ever. Okay, where were we? Trauma? So is that what your mom did? Do you think that she had a baby just so she wouldn't be alone?
Yeah, 100%.
Has she admitted to that?
Maybe not directly, but in enough words.
So was she still like dating and stuff when you were born?
I don't know the full story. I mean, she dated.
I mean, she did leave you alone a lot.
She dated a lot of people as I grew up.
Oh, so that
stuff.
so there's no stability there. There's nothing.
No.
It's every day is like a new commercial.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's
that's
a new experience.
yeah. But you know what? You made it through all that.
I did.
Yeah. Like, do you think that? So for other people, do you think that stuff like that makes you a stronger person?
I think I'm personally stronger from those experiences, but each person like takes what they take out of whatever experience. So like I had a choice to either look at it as a opportunity to grow, or I could crumble into my anxiety and depression and choose that path. But, you know, because of all of that, I've chosen to use my trauma and experience to create artwork. And I think because of my loneliness, it makes me more empathetic and connective with people. So
so I'm trying to look at trauma differently lately. I'm trying to look at it as not like this defines me. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to look at it like Dan and I one night. Do you remember this when we happened to have that stuff that one night?
Yeah.
Remember the? Well, you
start and see if it reminds me.
Shatter.
Okay. Oh, when we solved the world's.
Oh, it was in like 6 seconds in my head.
concentration.
Concentrate. Well, concentrate.
Concentrate.
Yeah, concentration is what we were doing at the time. So I started to. And that was kind of like the thing that like that was the summer before COVID, right?
Yeah.
Because COVID didn't happen yet.
No.
Yeah, so that was the summer before COVID. So I was already like, after that moment, I'll never forget that moment. It was profound. And I just started to look at like the world in a way where it's like everything, there's an inflection point, right? So there's like, if you're looking at the timeline of your life and you see all of the branches that you have chosen to do, there's a nexus. There's a moment where that split happened. And I think when you talk about choices, you know, do you choose to wallow in the morose of it because it's easier? It's hard work to come through on the other side of something terrible that happens to you. I think a lot of people choose, and I was one of them for like 15 years. I was like, well, I do this because I'm sad. I do this because, and it like gave me excuses to be a piece of shit. You know, so it's like whether it was drinking or whether it was, you know, being mean to people. I was never really like physically any of that stuff. And I always tried to make sure everybody was my friend because I was always insecure. But I started to look at it differently where it's like this stuff is supposed to make us stronger, no matter what it is, no matter how terrible it is. Because for some, it's like I started to have a problem with people who were trying to give levels to their trauma. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, well, yeah, you failed your math test, but my dad beats my mom every night. And it's like, those are both traumas and we shouldn't dismiss either one of them. But
why are you trying to beat someone with trauma? Like have the worst trauma?
But you know what I'm talking about, right? Where people are like, well, you think that's bad. You know, I want shit out an octopus. You know, like that's like, this is, I don't know where that came from, but that was pretty funny. So I started to really, really like internalize and not like, I started to ask myself questions as if I wasn't me. I started to ask myself questions as if like I was sitting across from me going like, well, why do you do that?
Yeah.
Why did you not tell your wife you love her today? Because you had the opportunity to do it. Why didn't you do that? And I started to actually like start finding answers in those when I started to look at it a different way. And so the trauma thing for when I use the example of like fail the math test, my dad, okay. So the person who fails the math test, to them, it hurts just as much as it does for the other person. So the trauma would kind of be like on the level. So who are we to decide like your trauma's, you know, you beat my trauma, You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like the whole idea of that.
Each person is experiencing something different. And I'm
Yes.
sure if you looked at the brain, the chemical reactions were probably the same for both experiences.
Yeah, maybe. Like the same things like lit up. But I don't even think that like the brain doctors, I don't even think that they would know, because the brain is still like one of the most misunderstood things, which kind of like led me to, in a weird way, spirituality, where I was like, there are some things that can't be explained. You know, I can't see my Wi-Fi signal, but I know it's out there.
That is true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you talk about love, when you ask somebody to describe love, they don't know how. Everybody has a different answer. There's no like
one right answer.
The sky
love.
is blue. You know, love is just hate is the same thing too. Most people hate people and they don't even hate them. They just don't understand them. So they're it's either fear or jealousy. And that's why they dislike people. I'm afraid of what you can do, or I'm jealous of what you can do.
Yeah.
Without even having a conversation.
Or lack of understanding. Like
that's the biggest thing,
man.
Communication's the biggest thing. Even with kids, like your mom. You know, I don't know your mom. I shouldn't judge. I'm not going to judge your mom. I'm not going to say anything about her. But if she was like, I mean, would you look at it differently? Where she's like, I'm just lonely.
Yeah.
You know, if she said that and she's like, you know, I'm doing, like, if she was actively trying to like do her best with that understanding and like the reality that you guys share, which is what she shared, do you think that like it would have been different just to have like that honesty, even if it's not like the loving thing that you want to hear, maybe just the honesty of it is like, okay, at least I know where I stand now.
I mean, I think it would maybe have improved the communication, but I think a lot of the way she acted or reacted and the choices she made were because of how she experienced childhood and maybe her inability for introspection and see like who she really was and how that impacted others, where she had this idea of herself as being this like awesome, wonderful person because that's what she experienced with her mom.
Like her mom was telling her you're an awesome, wonderful person?
Well, her mom was like very kind and loving. So she thought she was that example, but she wasn't that type of kind, warm, and comforting kind of person. She was...
Was it just the actions? Like she did actions and not like...
I mean, the words she communicated, the way she spoke to me and what she was communicating.
It's just, don't you think it's weird that like if the grandmother was...
Yeah, you know, you'd think, but I think she was more of like her father's personality, who maybe was a little harder. He experienced World War II and
those guys,
his generation, you know.
Do you know why those guys were so like stoic like that? Because both my grandfathers fought in World War II. One in the Pacific, one in Europe.
Okay.
I think if they were ever to be honest, it would break them. I think that they think that it would break them for the things that they experienced, the things that they saw. I think to be like, you know, and then you think about like the generation before them, which would be like World War I. Like they were told, you know, be a man, like do this, do that, right? And then before that, I mean, you just keep going back and back and back and back. It's all generational
until you make the choice.
But we don't equip people. We don't give them the ability to. We don't give them the tools to understand and get through trauma.
Agreed.
We don't. I find that like so discouraging, even for children. It's like you got to learn this at a young age so you can pay it forward. Of like, okay, something terrible happened. How do we deal with it? Because we have choices to make, right? I don't think we've equipped anybody to do that, because what they're going to do is it's like, I got to put on Netflix, I got to get on TikTok, I got to do this, because it just distracts them from the problem.
Yeah.
And then it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And they've never addressed it. That's how I look at it now, where it's like if I had a kid to like, my sister's pissed at me because I said, if I have a baby, I'm going to tell him about Santa Claus. It's not real. Like,
I told you I get pissed at you about that too.
I don't care. I'm not gonna have my kid grow up being like, hey, the first thing that I remember that brought me joy was a lie.
Yeah, it was a lie that I created. So I brought him joy through my lie.
It's still a lie. Are you against the Santa Claus thing? I don't want to tell my kid that Santa Claus is real.
I mean, I'm with you. I feel like honestly,
Jamie's judging me.
What do you feel?
I don't know. I don't really.
You don't want to. You don't have a feeling about Santa.
Not really. I mean,
Should you?
everybody chooses their parenting style, so
That's true. But don't you think?
don't have an opinion either way? I guess.
I
I don't have kids, so like I don't know.
What would you choose for our children?
This is
No
this is
wrong
like a 60.
answer.
This is like a $65,000 question. She's like, I would choose purple hats all day.
Purple hats.
No, I just come from this place where I feel like it's more important to be honest, even if it hurts. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Because then there's no like I remember thinking back on it, and I remember being a kid, and I'm like, man, they lied to me about Santa.
It hurt.
Like, I remember thinking that. I'm like, this big chubby man eating my cookies is not real. Who's eating my cookies? Who's coming down the chimney? Who's giving me the presents? Where'd they get the presents? Because there was always like some from mom, some from Santa, and I'm like, you're all lying to me. And I tried telling my sister that, and she's like, nope, you can't steal children's joy. I'm like, but it's fake joy. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Commercialized joy.
Amanda's with me.
Commercialized joy
Yep.
That's okay.
to help consumerism.
So are movies. So is TV. So is YouTube. So is Netflix. All that shit.
I know we all do it, but we all know it's bad. Do you think?
But Santa brings joy.
Santa does not bring joy. You bring joy.
And I'm Santa.
He's not Santa.
You're not going to break me in this logic.
I know. I'm going to go with. So, minus the holidays, where was it that you began to start finding like your voice in art? Like when did you, or do you think it's always like this fluid evolution? Don't be mad at me, Jamie, about the Santa stuff.
Oh, I don't care. It's
All right.
I'm not mad.
All
You're
right.
still thinking about Santa?
I just don't remember like caring when I was told.
Oh, see, I felt totally betrayed.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I wasn't like, oh my God, you've lied to me forever. You're like such a fucking skeptic and like the world is against you. So
Me?
I can see, yeah,
Even as a young age?
I guess so. I don't know. I'm assuming. If you were that butthurt about like Santa not being real, that's like not a big lie.
You don't think that's a big...
But I feel like
I understand why
build
people
a lot
do-
of foundations
Yes.
Of
around
what?
the whole holiday, this whole time period
Yeah.
of getting together. Family is all revolving around a fake man bringing you gifts.
I'm also Catholic, so we do put kind of a little
Maybe
bit of dash of
that's
Jesus in
why-
there.
Maybe that's why people fight on Christmas all the time, because it's a lie.
Do you know where they, do you know where they think Christmas comes from? The Amanita muscaria mushroom. Did you ever see that?
No.
So it's a psychedelic mushroom, and it's got a red cap,
Okay.
and it has all these white dots on
Oh
it.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you've seen it. It's like all in it. You've seen it everywhere. You just don't know why.
Okay.
So they think that like the whole legend of Santa or Krampus
Krampus is the
No,
guy that
Krampus
takes
is
away your
different.
children, yeah.
Krampus is different. He's like the anti-Santa.
I'm also okay with believing in Krampus.
See, he's ridiculous.
Well, you got to have good with the bad.
So if you follow the folklore of Santa, they think that it comes from that, which is a crazy thing about psychedelics, because there's a lot of roots in
Enlightenment.
yeah, they think, well, okay, so AA, you ever hear AA? You know who Bill is? Bill like wrote the big book, the AA book.
Okay.
Okay. They believe that he came up with the whole concept for it while tripping on psychedelics, trying to get sober.
You learned something new.
Yeah. Yeah. Christianity, they've found evidence of. Do you know what wine was back when Jesus turned water into wine?
It's just grapes fermented.
No.
What?
No, it was like herbs and psychedelics. What? Oh yeah, it was all crazy shit. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, so they do this thing called like bioarchaeology.
Okay.
So when they dig up archaeological sites, what they'll do is they'll scrape the bowls and stuff to see if there's organic matter, and then they try to figure out what it is. They find a lot of like mushrooms and oh yeah.
You have to send me this
You
stuff.
didn't know
to
this
read.
stuff?
No.
Yeah, it's not like a new thing that came out in the 50s. It was like they've been doing it for millennia. They've been using it to treat mental health and trauma. I
did know that. And
Yeah.
I've seen like recently they started using like ecstasy more with like experiences to deal
So
with
that's
like,
MDMA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
MDMA.
So what they'll do is they'll dose up people with MDMA. So so Johns Hopkins is doing this protocol right now. You could look into it. It's pretty neat. So I actually listened to a seminar of it like a couple years ago at a psychiatric convention. So what they're doing is, and I think this is going to be the future. I hope that the pharmaceutical companies stop. I believe that a lot of the stuff that they give isn't good for you. I think it's just like getting a new iPhone. Okay, so we're going to dose you with this new drug that we don't know really what it does long term. So the thing about like, let's call them earth medicines, is that
natural.
And it's just as natural as nicotine or caffeine from like a tea leaf, and those are all technically either a stimulant or a depressant or a psychedelic. All of them are. Even marijuana has psychedelic properties to it.
Yeah.
It's just not like, oh, there's a purple moose on the. So I was talking to this woman who does like she does like psychedelic retreats and stuff like that, and she was, because I'm interested in like the history of it. I'm interested in like how long has this been around, like what do they do, like where do you get your ceremonial thoughts from? And she told me something really interesting about trauma. She goes back in the ancient times, whenever you consider that, like in Europe and stuff. So like before, like the what was it? The Christians,
The Crusades?
No, I think it was like before that, because they were trying to get Christianity like all through Europe, and it kind of like spread like locusts. And what they did was all these like little towns and villages that really didn't have like Christianity. Judaism still existed. There was no such thing as Islam at the time. But the Christians came in and got rid of all their religious practices. So they made it evil. Even insofar as like even the Salem witch trials, they believed that it was ergot, which is this fungus that grows on wheat that makes you trip. Yeah. So they think all like the Salem witch trials was everyone was tripping.
Yeah.
So the history of these things, every continent, every culture, every ancient culture had them. Europe, the thing that really fascinated me was because they would have these things called like whaling ceremonies. So have you ever heard of these?
I believe so.
Okay, so a whaling ceremony is, so let's say someone in the village suffers a trauma. Let's say, for instance, that like a young child eaten by a bear, something like that, something that happened back. It's traumatic. It's terrible. The whole village would come together and have a ceremony, and they would just wail, right? So they would surround the person who has experienced the trauma, and they would wail for them, and everyone would wail. Like, like the, shit like that. And these are all things that like I think that we've forgotten about. I think these are things that could be actually useful for a community or to, not lose their minds at the same time, not have to drink like eat processed food or drink all this crazy shit or take medicines.
Yeah, reconnect with each other.
I think that's so valuable.
I think that's a great point.
I think are you trying to do that? We're trying to get Jamie to talk.
Yeah.
Like wearing her Pizza Planet shirt from Toy Story. We're just trying to get her to talk.
I mean, no, I agree with that.
Thanks. That's why just agree with me. Everything I say, you can just agree with me. You shouldn't. You should never do that. You should always be skeptical of people like me. Everybody. You should be skeptical of everybody. Because they don't tell you about whaling ceremonies.
They don't.
They don't. But they tell you about Santa.
All right. Anyway, is that like in Midsommar?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
I think if did you see Midsommar?
I did recently.
Okay, if you watch it thinking that this is an actual like different culture than yours, it's not a horror movie. Like, does that make sense?
I mean, that makes sense. Are we gonna start pushing old people off of the cliffs and shit?
No, but
smashing them with hammers all good.
But to them, that's the thing. I think that's why that movie is so terrifying to people, is because those are the things that they do. I was terrified watching that movie, and then I thought about it, and I was like,
no, it's terrifying because you see it as a guy that's like, oh, I'm in college, I'm following this girl across the country. We're gonna go over here, eat mushrooms, and now we're all gonna die.
That was his fault.
That was his fault. He should have known better from the beginning.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. Who's that girl? Florence Pugh? Is that her name? The girl from that movie? She's a phenomenal actress. Jamie
didn't see that one.
No.
Oh, Midsommar? Oh, that'll give you That'll give you anxiety.
He's the same person that did Hereditary, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I think
I will not watch that movie.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
didn't
It's
see
on my
that?
list.
I didn't see it. I don't
There's-
like scary movies. No.
There's scenes in that I've heard of that I'm just like, I don't need to see these things. And they think there's a dead baby too or something. I just don't want to.
Yeah, there's nothing. I don't understand like gore porn and people who like the Saw movies.
Ooh.
Like where it's just gross and people like that. I think that's terrible to watch.
I like thrillers and horrors that make it difficult for you to guess what the ending is.
Did you see Law Abiding Citizen? With Gerard, who's the guy from Gerard Butler and Jamie Foxx? Yeah, it's Gerard Butler, Jamie Foxx. Law Abiding Citizen's pretty good. You should watch that. Is it like a turn off your brain like thriller type movie?
Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I think it's on Netflix or something like that. Okay, when did you find your voice?
I would say probably high school. Started to find that I was drawn to capturing emotion and finding connection through that. And in college, since I had left that small town environment, Scranton might
metropolis.
not be huge, but it was bigger than what I was used to.
Right.
And had a lot of life experiences that helped me develop my direction and really kind of figure out who I was. I mean, in college, I came out as...
What was that like? When did you know that?
I mean, reflecting back, I think I knew from a very young age, but to come to terms with that, with my mother being a born-again Christian.
Oh, that must have been difficult.
Oh, yeah,
It's like that's like Hitler's son telling him he's a Jew.
The response, the exact words when I said I'm gay was, "I'm worried for your soul."
Okay.
So leave that for a trauma impact.
Did she have any idea though? Was there any
I think she was too
wrapped up in herself?
Yeah. My aunt says she always knew.
Right.
My cousins knew. But yeah, I think she was a little surprised.
To say the least, or
I don't think she saw it coming.
So how did you tell her?
On the phone. I felt like that was the best.
That was that was as close as you should be for it.
Yeah.
So, but was were you dreading doing that?
Yeah. I mean, I put it off for a very long time.
So what was finally the moment that made you do that?
I mean, I feel like
to
be your most authentic self, you have to be able to accept those things. And, even now as I'm growing and I still am figuring myself out, recently, I came out as non-binary and started using they, them pronouns because I feel like that's more accurate and authentic to who I am.
So, okay. Can I push back on this a little bit?
Absolutely.
I find to me,
okay,
right? Mm-hmm. If I called somebody they, mm-hmm. I think it's offensive.
That's fair enough.
Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, if we go back 10 years
mm-hmm.
and I called someone they or them,
mm-hmm.
in other words, so I'm like, oh yeah, it's a group of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think I grew up thinking that was incredibly offensive.
No, I mean, and that's fair enough based on your experience and how people responded in the past. For me, identifying by that just better explains I don't necessarily feel I identify as woman, female, but I definitely don't identify as male. So for me, I'm just somewhere in the gray and I'm just myself.
So I heard somebody say that it's okay to be a masculine female or an effeminate man. Mm-hmm. And I don't. So here's where my issue I have with the pronoun thing, right? And I'm not trying to shit on anybody. Is that San Francisco just announced that they're going to give basically reparations for the transgender community.
Okay.
And when we got the list. And how long did it take me to read that list?
I think I have a 4-minute video of you reading the list.
There's 72 pronouns.
That's a lot.
Yes.
I don't need it that complicated.
So why is it getting that complicated? Well, I'm trying to understand because when I was growing up, here's the I was a hardcore liberal growing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't. Oh my God! Now I don't identify with either.
There you go.
I'm a them.
You are a them in your political identity.
So when I was growing
Maybe
up,
you do understand now.
all right, I know I'm now something I don't know. So when I was a kid growing up, I remember like the civil rights. I was fascinated with the 60s because I was fascinated with Kennedy. I was fascinated with like Vietnam, the Cuban Missile Crisis, like what was going on in America. And I believe it was like 1966 or 1967, they did the Civil Rights Act, where Lyndon Johnson, in essence, did something that should have never been a problem in the first place. Although he was a known racist, and he did it to get votes for his party. It's documented back then. He said it. So I thought the last hurdle that we had to get over, because when I was growing up, you know, like I had a lot of gay friends. I had a lot of, you know, everybody. I didn't care. I don't care who you are, what you do. And they're like, no, as soon as gay marriage happens, everybody's good. Like there's no more to worry about in terms of like civil rights and shit like that.
Yeah.
So then, you know, I voted for Obama. We got gay marriage. You know, I thought everyone was happy. And then all of a sudden, like, now there's like Two-Spirit. Now there's like some of the ones on that list from San Francisco were like the derogatory terms.
So Two-Spirit has been around for
That's Native American, right?
Yeah, for generations.
Right. So
like,
but
that has a long history.
But that's not like the Caesar. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like it still falls within that scope.
So why I don't understand why we have to add like these.
I think everybody wants their voice heard potentially. I mean, for me, I just like, I don't necessarily fall under a he or a she, so they is the easiest, most comfortable for me.
Yeah, now we're getting like dozens.
But like, I don't want to speak for somebody else and like deny their identity at the same time.
Do you think that does though?
I mean, I think for some people it does feel that way.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. But like, do you think that some of that could be from trauma?
I mean, of course, like that's what I would say, like you could always go back to that, like by not recognizing and maybe accepting all of these different types of terms in some essence.
I'm just like, I know you don't want to speak for any.
Yeah.
I speak for many. I'm like, I don't know what this means. Like, I'm totally confused by.
I mean, for me, I can just explain how I identify in my experience and provide more insight with that. But like always, my best advice is just ask people. People are more willing to explain if you're open to listening.
I'll always listen.
Yeah.
I just get like, I get to this point where I'm like, because here's what I think is happening, right? Mm-hmm. I think that being that there are 4 minutes worth of pronouns that I said,
yeah.
I think what it does is it further limits conversation.
I agree with that. Like not having clarity in direction, and basically what they're all trying to accomplish, it seems, is to have recognition for however they identify.
I agree with that. I think the problem is that most people fear what they don't understand. And I think because it's so complicated for them to understand it, they fear it.
I agree with that. Yeah, 100%.
And so I don't understand why the PR campaign for all this is making it so that the people that they want, that we should all encourage to listen, are tuning out even more.
I have to check out this PR campaign. I did not see it.
Well, I'm saying like it's in the news like every day. Like it's in like, you know, what's that diversity, equity, inclusion stuff. Like I'm all for everybody being fair. I'm all for everybody treating fair. It gets really difficult for people when it comes to like the idea of like, I love love. Like I'm okay with love. Like I just saw you guys hold hands and I'm like, oh, like my heart like melted a little bit. I'm trying. I want to bring everybody together to understand everybody, and I think it gets confusing for people like me when I'm on like page 4 and I'm like, well, I don't even know how to pronounce that. So I mean,
that's fair as well. If it's too difficult for everyone to understand, people are going to be less apt to
That's my concern is that they're
learning.
less
Yeah.
apt to learn.
Yeah.
You know, so
I feel like you need a summit for connection. Just start this whole
everybody's
global
gonna-
summit
I
and
want
get
to.
everybody, like all the different parties.
but they're so
in
but
one-
they're so like siloed against each other now, don't you think? Like
Yeah.
everybody is.
But if you get them all in one room and just listen, and then you all have a chance to talk.
I heard somebody say this theory. It's like if you give everyone psychedelics, synchronize your watch, everyone takes them at the same time, and 8 hours later, the world will probably be a much better place.
I think that would be a great idea to
So
try.
okay, so
This
how do we
needs
get
to
that to
try.
happen? How do we get that to happen?
You have to know a lot of people in charge.
Yeah, we're gonna put it in your drinking water. Well, they're already putting fluoride in. So
I'm just saying, people are pretty happy up at Peach Fest for 3 days.
are you going? Are you going? Are you guys going this year? Do you go to concerts or festivals at all?
No, not really.
You don't like them?
I am not a crowd person.
You just don't like crowds in general?
No.
What? So you won't even like? What if you have to like go to like wait in line for food?
Oh, that's fine. Like, but like, I don't like concerts. Like, that's too many people for me.
You think so?
Yeah, that's too many people for me.
I started listening to music that I'm like, as long as it sounds like you can play it on a porch without an amplifier, that's kind of like where I'm at. Like, would you be okay with that? Like a porch concert?
How
Just
many people are we talking?
All right, so you have a limit. What's your limit?
Like, I don't want thousands of people.
Neither do I. I don't.
I don't want like
Dozens? Is dozens okay?
dozens is fine, but when you get into like the hundreds,
So what was the last concert you went to? Weren't you like the concert photographer for The Weekender?
Yeah, I did that a little bit.
All right, so wait.
Wait. Get this. Our first date.
Yeah, tell me
was-
about this. Yeah.
I brought Jamie to a show I was playing.
You were playing.
Yeah, I was in a band for like a hot minute.
What did you play?
Guitar, and I sang.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Do
Is
you
there
still sing?
Is there footage of this
There's footage.
on the internets?
Yeah, I can share with you.
What do we look? Dan can look it up. What is it? Would this embarrass the shit out of you?
I don't know.
I would love to see you
It's
rocking out.
Louisa, the band.
Hold
You
on.
expect
On
Dan to
YouTube.
spell?
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Louisa.
Louisa. Where did that come from?
It's one of my middle names.
How many middle names do you have?
2.
Now, where does that come from?
My grandmother's side. It was one of her names. And then Sachiko's from my father's side, which is Japanese.
So, Amanda.
Louisa, Sachiko, Ditmar.
Is that on your birth certificate?
It is.
Is
It's
it
on my
really?
Social security
What's your
card.
middle name?
Lynn.
Lynn. Is it really? Lyn?
Yeah.
Lynn?
No, Lyn.
Just straight up Lyn.
Yep.
Okay. Did you find that?
I don't know.
How many? What kind of music was it?
Like,
Was it
emo
punk?
Punk.
What's emo punk? You know what I heard recently? Shoegaze. Have you ever heard of
I
that?
have.
What is that?
It's like dreamy, mellow.
It seems like everybody's zombified.
Yeah.
I was watching. It's like oh yeah, everyone's on pot. Everyone there is on pot. You trying to find it?
Yeah.
Where would I be looking for this?
YouTube. Louisa.
Yeah.
Live. Maybe it's like Louisa Live.
Scranton?
Hang on.
Why should be like Pittston?
Scranton homicide charges?
What?
Neva Scene has.
Oh, is it NAPA Scene has it?
Yeah, it has a practice video. I think our social had more videos.
Did you find it?
Poems?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Father?
Yep.
Oh, is that you? Can we watch
Yeah.
some of it?
Yeah.
Is it cool? Dan, you want to put it up on the screen?
Yeah, hold on.
Oh man, this has been a minute.
Can I criticize your music?
I don't care.
Get it on the big screen. And make sure it's not like blasting.
We should be good. I tested it earlier. Remember?
Okay. So who else is in the band with you?
Kids from the area.
That drummer looks familiar, and I know it's the back of his head.
He used to be.
I didn't mean it that way.
Bands in the area.
He used to be what?
In a lot of bands in the area.
Okay. Where'd you guys rehearse at?
His dad's basement.
His dad was a Beatles fan.
All right.
All right, give us a minute. Let's. Your hair. Why have I never seen this before. Why did I not know this?
It was like a year. I wrote a whole album of songs. I opened for Koji at a garage show.
Really?
Yeah. We just never recorded anything.
Was that a harmony? You guys are doing harmonies?
Oh, yeah.
Boom. Uh-oh. There it is. There's the punk. You scream?
Not like fully scream. There are videos of me doing guest vocals for some hardcore bands on the internet screaming.
Dude, this dude's cymbals are destroyed. Are you still playing?
No. I mean, I
turn
have a
that down, man.
ukulele.
I want to talk. You have a ukulele?
Yeah.
This is
like,
that's a leap.
Stuff. Yeah.
Going from electric guitar to ukulele?
Yeah. So
Did she play the ukulele for you?
Sometimes.
Did you ever do Somewhere Over the Rainbow for her?
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the first ones.
I knew it. What did she tell you she was going to do it? Or did she just walk into the room and she's like, "This one's for Gabby"? That's a great song.
I mean, they kind of just
Did she play music for you?
sometimes, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That must be so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll sing together too.
Will you? What
Yeah.
are you guys singing? What's what's your go-to?
I mean, it's just whatever's on.
Yeah.
We sing all
It's all
the
like
time.
Wilson Phillips. Like, oh,
No. That's great though.
I know the day will change.
I know what our plans are for the weekend.
So how did you guys meet? She was at a Louisa show. Did you go to a Louisa?
No, we actually met at Giant. I worked at Giant.
The grocery store?
Yeah.
Jamie was my manager.
Oh, this sounds scandalous.
No, not really, actually.
You were her boss?
Yeah, I was a supervisor.
That means boss. What did you
But
do there?
also, she was younger than me too.
No.
Yeah.
It must be terrible taking old orders from a younger person.
No, I don't care. I'm just chill. It doesn't matter to me.
You were like, you don't know shit. Why are you telling me how to do this?
I was too focused on writing music and making art at the time.
What were you doing? What were you doing at Giant?
I was just working there part-time and working for a wedding company part-time.
Taking photos?
Yeah.
So wait,
write music.
Tell me about how you guys met.
Jamie was crying.
Jamie
I
was crying?
Like, crying at work. I don't know. I was like, I've always had anxiety, and when I get overwhelmed, like I just cry. So like there was just a lot going on in my life at that time, and I was crying, and Amanda came over to me and was like, "Hey, do you have Snapchat?"
As she's weeping?
Yeah, that's how you get
strike while the
advice.
iron is sad.
Yeah.
Strike while the iron is sad.
I'm a fixer.
Hey, do you have Snapchat?
Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah." And then that was it.
What was the snap?
What do you mean?
Well, you had Snapchat. What was the first thing she sent you? Do you remember? Was it a Planet Pizza?
No.
Pizza Planet, I mean?
It was probably just like a selfie, honestly.
Where she's like, stop being sad. You don't need to be sad.
I wish I had some
Probably.
Newlywed Game music playing right now to really get this going.
It's a good song. Find it.
No.
So then how did it grow from there?
Amanda stalked me on Facebook.
Did you really? You were doing research.
I mean, I'm just good at finding people.
No.
She's a good researcher.
Took you forever.
She's a good researcher. Yeah.
It took you forever.
It's
And then
social research.
Then how long did it take her to find you?
You told me it took you a couple of days to find my Facebook.
That's not really that long.
It's a long time to pursue. Instead of just being like, hey, what's your Facebook so I can creep on you?
I mean,
So I could be like, who's she hanging out with? What's she doing? What's her life like?
Ago.
It's so bizarre that we put our lives out there like that too back then. I think people stopped doing it. Remember, like when we were doing it, it was like everything that we did, and now it's just like they're doing it to sell sneakers or T-shirts.
Yep, pretty much.
It's like
I'll share what I'm doing. That's about it.
it's like
I don't even have a Facebook.
you used to though.
Yeah,
It's the sewer. It's a terrible place.
it is.
Social media is it's bring us all together to divide us.
You got to watch the documentary.
The Social Dilemma?
Yeah. It changes how you look at everything.
Oh yeah, they're taking all your data.
Yeah.
And they're trying to manipulate you.
Yeah. They just want to keep you there longer.
I did this podcast a couple months ago. There was a guy from the paper, right, who was writing stories about another guy, right? Regardless of the feeling that you feel about these two individuals. One was responding in ink, and the other one was responding on Facebook. And this just kept going on forever. And these two dudes decided to meet. And I called up my buddy who was putting it together, and I think we were like 10 episodes into the podcast, and I'm like, dude, I'm really concerned about like the tone and the rhetoric that these two guys got going on. You need somebody there to like
mediate.
Just be like a neutral party and blah, blah, blah. So I think that's why the paper hates me, because I moderated it and they said I ambushed them, but I never did. Like I told the guys when I got there, I said, if this other guy chooses not to do this, we're not doing it. And they were like, yeah, cool. Not a big deal. So anyways, we go through with the whole thing. And during the middle of it, the guy from the paper mentioned another guy. And he mentioned about how he couldn't stand, because the other guy was like a Trump guy, couldn't stand him anymore because he just saw Trump stuff in his feed. And I didn't want to tell him, I'm like, yo, they feed you stuff that you hate, right? To keep you engaged on the app. It has nothing to do with this dude. It's just sending you stuff that they know that will incense you to stay on the app.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to like break in and be like, dude, like,
poor guy.
Facebook is doing this to you. It's making you angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for agreeing with me, Amanda.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
All
try to stay off of the social.
Back to love. What year was this?
2015.
2000. A recent love compared to mine. 2015.
Yeah. We
So-
just celebrated our 8-year anniversary.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was like the getting to know you part like? Because you are an anxious crier at a giant, and she's an artist who rocks out on guitar, who I'm not saying that you like the spotlight, but you're not afraid of being in front of people for art.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
That's true. Except
Okay.
for aside from artwork, I'd rather be by myself.
So it's like only when you're trying to show the art, you're like, just don't talk to me. I don't care. So what was that? What was that like getting to know each other? Like, what were the things that you found out that were fun to do, that you both enjoyed? And if you guys say you get along 100% of the time, I'm going to say you're nuts and you should never do that.
We do not get along.
Yeah, I think 90-10 is a good split. 90% of the time you should get along. 10% lets you know you still have passion in you.
That's a good goal.
Yeah.
It's a good goal.
All right, so you guys are 50-50? I don't know what's going on.
No, we're pretty good. I would say we're pretty good most of the time.
So how did you guys know that, like, oh, this is...
I think we understand each other and understand each other's perspective. So it allows for like lots of understanding.
That was a Kamala Harris response.
Maybe I'll be
People
the
are
next
getting
one
older,
running.
so I hope that they're old, and then one day they'll be old too.
Vote for me next.
Yeah. When I lived in California, everybody hated her. I don't know why. I don't know why she's our vice president, but whatever. So why? That's just me. I'm sorry.
You're good.
No, when I lived there, she was attorney general, and I remember all these stories where they're like,
she put so many people away. Yeah, she did.
she would not allow like medical marijuana offenders. She wouldn't allow DNA tests to acquit people because she needed them to fight fires. It's like, holy shit. There's a great documentary on Netflix though about the prisoners who fight fires. They're amazing. You didn't know this?
Yeah, you guys send me this link.
So the prisoners in California, some of them have options to go fight the brush fires.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Right, so they could potentially like get out earlier or possibly have a job afterwards.
Okay.
And there's males and females. So like the women's prison, the male prison, they go out and they both do it, and they get paid like 7 cents a day.
Oh yeah, and that's brutal work.
Oh my God, like those people, holy shit, you would never like. Imagine how cooped up your life is for whatever. And these aren't like violent criminals. These are people who are like, yeah, I wrote some bad checks. Imagine how like where you're like fighting fires seems like a better option than I have right now. And they go out and they fight with the legit firefighters. It's pretty awe-inspiring to see what,
It tells you what being stuck in a confined area does to humans.
Yes. Are you talking like a town or?
I'm just saying in general, like if you think about if someone in prison would rather go put themselves into those situations of like fighting fires and everything.
For 7 cents a day.
I was exaggerating. It's probably like $3, but
for like,
it's
for
not
like,
a lot.
Oh, okay.
It's not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot of money. They would rather do that than sit in a box because that's worse. It makes you think about what that does for your mental health.
I think it gives you perspective too, where it's like, do you like? So I always think about this like prisoners, right? And I think our penal system is totally screwed up. Mm-hmm. But I always think about like, do you want more water?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Remember Fight Club? Did you ever see Fight Club?
Yes. Oh.
All right. Remember when like Brad Pitt like has the Asian guy on his knees and he has the gun and he goes, "I want your ID." And then Edward Furlong's character's like, he runs away and he's like, "Why would you do that?" He goes, "Because tomorrow morning he's going to wake up and the air is going to be cooler. The sun's going to be warmer and he's going to move on and he's going to have a good life if he does it right." Mm-hmm. Like, I don't understand. It's not how I don't understand. That's my slogan, right?
Learning.
I maybe it's not that I don't understand. I don't understand why. Oh, is that the? Oh, it's close.
Ooh.
They make $2.90 to $5 a day. Fighting fires.
I looked something up.
You did look something up. Thanks for doing that, Dan.
Look at you.
The all-inmate crews live in so-called fire camps and are led by personnel from the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, or CAL FIRE. They earn between $2.90 and $5 a day, depending on their duties, and slightly more when actively fighting a fire.
A day. That's not an hour. That's a day.
Well, remember how they said that like we've abolished slavery in this country?
Oh, no.
No, the 13th Amendment.
System.
Yeah, it allows for slavery.
Yeah, it's
like we beat that. And like, nah, we didn't. No. We just made it a law that you can just make those people go out and do that. That's indentured servitude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
And that's better than staying locked up in a box.
Yeah. That's how bad the box is. Yeah, I don't understand. So, okay, back to your love. Well, who proposed to who?
I proposed to.
What'd you do? What was the fancy thing that you did?
To be honest, it was not fancy at all.
Well, tell me about it.
This
is also your first podcast, right?
Yeah.
Are you nervous?
Yeah.
Are you still nervous?
Yeah.
You're not chill yet?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I got some kava in the other room. You want that? You know what kava is? It's like a Fijian root, and it's like a drink. It tastes like mud, but it's really relaxing.
Wait, is that the mud water stuff?
No, mud water's totally different.
Okay.
That's all like mushrooms and.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, the kava's a root from Fiji, and they grind it up into a powder, and then they put it in like this cheesecloth thing, and they knead it in water, almost like they're making their own big tea. Mm-hmm. And then so they do this like every day at the end of work. At the end of their work day, they'll sit around, they'll have like a big bowl, and they'll just scoop in kava, and they'll just drink kava, and it makes it the Fijian guy I watched. He goes, it makes your tongue go, ah, la, la, la. And I just thought that was the funniest goddamn thing. So I bought kava because I'm I don't drink, so I'm like, all right, let me get the thing, and now I'm drinking these things which are called Hayo. Uh-huh. So my sister said, she's like,
sponsored by Ed McMahon.
Yeah,
Hayo. You need to start getting sponsored by these.
So
we're really bad at that whole part of this show.
Hi-yo. This is funny. So it's called Feel the Float. That's what this is their branding, right? We crafted our mindful social tonics with organic adaptogens, natural nootropics, and functional biotanicals to celebrate life never, and then they cross out wasted. And then they go, this better than alcohol alternative is made for those chasing a new feeling. We call ours the float. It's our hope that enjoying Hayo inspires more solace on the sofa, more happy hours without hangovers, more presence at parties, and ultimately a happier, healthier you. So raise a can and find out what it means to be happy in your own. So it's non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan, USDA organic, and it's supposed to make you feel chill. So I've been doing all this shit. I'm like, let's stay away from like Budweiser and
How you feeling?
I'm a crazy person. Like since you've last seen me, I think I've either gotten crazy or I've opened my eyes to like the ideas of the world, where it's just like we're all connected. We don't realize it. You know, we have a lot. We have a plethora more in common than we do different, and we don't talk to each other anymore. And it really bothers me that like we don't talk, and we just assume things about people, and we all, you know, oh that person does this, so now they're plastered with all these different things that we can plaster them with, where it's like, no, there's just a disagreement in some place, and if you talk it out, you can always come to an understanding, or even like just politely disagree. You know, I found the world got really vitriolic towards each other, especially over like the last 3 years, and it really bothers me. Or like since Trump got elected, I'm like, everybody's just mad at everybody. And my feelings on the guy is he's not as bad as they say he is, and he's not as good as some people think he is. He's, at the end of the day, he's just like, and I just, you're pummeled by it. Everybody's pummeled by like politics.
I just don't get why they can't move on. I've never seen.
The guy's not the president. Why are we still talking about him?
Why do you still have flags?
Oh, well, they like the flags. So.
Did you keep up your Nixon?
My Nixon?
Your Nixon signs too?
Yeah, I did.
Years after?
Some people probably did. Like you don't think that people
maybe in this area?
I mean, you got to think about it though. Like if you think about like what he did is, I mean, that's his whole persona is branding, and like he nailed it. Like everything he did, but the thing is what people don't realize, and I think Dave Chappelle said this too. Like he came out on Saturday Night Live and he said he was making jokes, but in those jokes are truth, right? And basically what he said is like this guy spoke to the disaffected. He spoke to the ones who for decades have been left behind, like the coal mining towns, like, you know, probably something like the town you came from. It probably comes from depression. And what he basically said is it's economic. It's a poverty issue. It's not like we're all these different people, like poor is poor. And getting screwed over is getting screwed over. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, how you identify, anything like that. And I always said, like, since the beginning, I'm like, the thing that they're most afraid of is MAGA and BLM marching together because they have way more in common than they do apart. That's my opinion, because it's all about getting screwed over by the system. And I think that, like, if they were able to talk to each other, they'd be like, hey, you know what? Maybe we can change a lot of things for the better. But they try to make it so like this group is crazy and that other group is crazy, and you need to look at each other as totally crazy, because if you don't, we can't do what we want to do while you're not looking. That's how I look at the division.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
Well, yeah, it's the ant. Do you ever hear the ant experiment? Okay, so you take a jar full of ants, right? You put 50 black ants, 50 red ants, right? They get along. If you shake the jar, the black ants think the red ants did it, the red ants think the black ants did it, and they start killing each other.
Yeah.
They don't know that somebody shook the jar and it's you or I.
Yeah.
So that's like the theory behind it is when you're really paying attention, like, do these people have a lot not in common? I think they have a lot in common. Over the last summer, BLM and MAGA were protesting the mandates together in New York City. And I was watching it on Twitter and I was like, why is this not on every channel? Like, this is the thing that, like, that's like the Jews and the Germans marching together.
Yeah.
Why would we not talk about this? And no one was talking about it.
Because if you talk to it, it gives fire to the movement and more people get involved.
But that might be a good thing, at least for people to be like, I don't hate you.
But
and I hope you don't hate me.
I feel like at the end of the day, it all comes down to money. So
it's always money, Amanda.
Yeah, people in power will promote ideas
to enrich
events
themselves
that enrich their direction and goals.
And then you, people like you and me and Dan, like we're fighting over the scraps and we're arguing with other people. Yeah. You know, that's why I stopped arguing with other people.
Just sit down, have a conversation.
Yeah, let's break bread.
You might learn something.
Yes.
You found out you could be a they them.
I'm a they them.
Politically, you know.
Did you know I could?
I had an inkling.
Oh, why didn't you tell me?
I've just been so far ahead of you on this that.
Oh, you're so progressive.
I am. I always have been.
I might be a they them politically.
We can discuss it after the show in the back.
I want to. Did you bring some of your art with you? Can I see it?
I brought a piece for you.
No, you didn't.
Yes, it is.
For me.
For you. Yeah.
No,
It's
I don't
okay.
want to. No, I feel like emotional. I don't want to take
open
it. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel weird. I don't like presents, and I
Just
don't like
open
things
it.
that come from emotion. Oh man!
You saw a picture of it like ages ago.
But you brought. Oh my god! What? Something else fell out of here.
Oh yeah, there's like some stickers and some,
Oh, you brought me stickers?
some goodies in there.
We're putting these stickers up. Look at this. Now tell me about this.
So that's a part of.
That's awesome. I'm trying my best not to like shed a tear.
Aw, it's okay to be emotional.
It
I brought
is.
you a T-shirt too.
No,
and
you
it says
didn't.
I have a lot of feelings for both of you guys,
Oh
so you
my
can have your
God.
feelings too.
Where can we hang this, Dan?
I got some empty space right here behind me.
Number 11.
Mhm.
Is that just because of the?
The collection is all numbered pieces. But
All right,
it was
tell me
my
about
last
this.
collection that I did.
Okay, here's
last
my next
year.
question. Which way's up?
Whichever way you choose.
Oh, I love your art. Oh, you didn't tell me he was going to match Jamie's hat.
Ooh, yeah, the purple.
Huh? You're rad as shit.
So, I was at the end of the year processing.
At the end of 22?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the end of 22, just processing all of the experiences. At the beginning of 22, I had the mindset that I would say yes to whatever art opportunities happen, no matter what. It was crazy and overwhelming, but I had a whole bunch of opportunities I never would have thought. Like I was on live TV 3 times in 1 year.
That's
Like,
terrifying.
Yeah.
A lot of mistakes can happen on life. Just like you in a podcast, a lot of mistakes can happen. I'm just adding to your anxiety.
She's not
That's all
going to
I'm-
talk for the rest of the time now.
Jamie, you're the best. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Okay. So like what opportunities besides like the live TV? Like because a lot of people don't realize that art is a business
Yeah.
and you have to network and you have to know how to make money to
do.
survive.
And, I think it was end of 21, beginning of 22, I really got a website up where any piece of artwork I do, put it up with a price and sell it because you don't know who will connect and feel that like that's the piece they need in their home or office to provide inspiration, or maybe they might relate to something or it might inspire them. So I got a website up, started selling pieces. Never in my mind would I think in my first year I'd sell about $5,000 in art.
Get the fuck.
Yeah, first year in just like artwork. Yeah.
So
I mean, it wasn't just like one sale, it was multiple pieces.
I assume so.
Yeah.
So do you think you should have done that sooner?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was
And I
holding you
think-
back?
I just think the lack of knowledge and like, if you're doing it for yourself, you have to have the motivation to learn things on your own. If you have a 9-to-5 job, they kind of give you some structure and direction, but when you're on your own, you got to figure it out. And I finally sat down and, went through a couple options, found what was the easiest for my workflow. And I think a lot of artists don't necessarily have the knowledge in a way that they find accessible. So that's why they put it off for so long.
I went to an art business class, and I'll never forget. I'll say the guy's name because I think he's a sharp dude. His name's Paul DeLuca,
Okay.
and he said to me, he goes, "What do you think artists in Manhattan talk about?" And I said, "Art," and he goes, "No, they talk about how they're going to sell their next piece and where there's galleries and how to make money off of it." He goes, "The art is good, but you can't survive if you don't know how to make a living off of it."
Yeah. And if you
And that
don't-
was really profound to me.
Yeah. If you can't talk about it and explain to people, answer the question why. Because that's the one I get most is people want to know why I created a piece and what inspired it. And I feel like one of the strongest tools to have as an artist is to be able to answer that question.
So why?
So why this piece?
Why number 11?
For my final collection, I wanted something really like simple, since it was just a lot of quick expressions of experiences and you know, for this piece, it had 2 others that were expressing the flow, but yet like the craziness along with like going with that flow of saying yes. Where like some of my other collections are asking specific questions or revolve around certain topics that like I would want more people to think about.
So how do you choose that though? Like, in other words, like, how do you pick a color? How do you pick like how it's going to go on the canvas? How do you, or is that just something that you just muscle memory it, or just go with whatever feels right?
So like I put myself in the headspace of whatever I'm creating. So whether it be for one piece, I focused on my insomnia and my
you're insomniac.
Yeah,
I have thoughts about that if you need help.
Yeah, I just stare. It's bad.
Do you really?
I stare at the ceiling.
I sleep like a
sometimes.
baby now.
Yeah.
I used to be up till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, my mind just keeps going. So for that piece, I thought about what that feels like for me and like what I'm going through my head and stuff. So that's how I'm able to drive those emotions into what I'm creating. And I let those motions guide which colors or techniques I'm using to express that feeling.
When she's in her zone, do you let her stay in her zone, or
Yeah.
what's her zone stuff? Like, you're an artist.
Jamie does art too. She just doesn't.
Oh, well, let's talk. Jamie, what's her art?
Jamie paints and does shirt designs. You would love her first shirt that's on our website is a mushroom shirt.
So what you have to do right now is sell your goods.
What you have to do right now is say your website.
If you want to get artwork, you can go to theartistsachiko.com.
Here, let me show you. Oh man, we're gonna put these up.
Logo.
We're gonna put these up everywhere.
And then just put .com after.
I'm getting a new car, so I have to put this on a different car. What? So okay. So I believe in like any endeavor that has to do with creativity. You need a creative person, and then you need somebody who can operate the creative person. In other words, like, I'm going to handle the sales. I'm going to do the business side of it. You do the product side of it. I'll do the business side. Do I have this relationship right to a degree?
We kind of do both. Like,
well, do you pick up the pieces where, you know, maybe she's like, I'm not going to do that. Like my wife, like I'm like, oh, there's certain things that like, yeah, Dan knows. Like I hate looking at bills. I hate looking at like anything that has to do with business.
Yeah, so Jamie's learning SEO because I couldn't.
Search engine optimization. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so with adding designs that we've created, our goal is to get 100 by the end of April up on like just random t-shirt designs and to have better opportunity for sales. It was something that the business needed. I don't have the bandwidth to learn. So
yeah.
Jamie dove right in. She also set up our print-on-demand system and everything.
So
like that.
So you guys don't have to print them?
No.
Is that through Amazon?
It is not through Amazon.
no, it's
Okay, thank
through
God.
Printify.
They're not owned by Amazon, are they?
I don't think
Maybe.
so.
They all are owned by like
I feel
4
like
people.
yeah.
You know? I'm going to tell you a little funny story about SEO. At the beginning, you know what people used to do? So if you had a website, right?
Yeah.
And let's say the background was like, let's say it was black, right? So if it was, let's say, what's the name of this? Bowling basket? Yeti, right? So if Yeti's background color was this blue,
Yeah.
the font, they would put all these words in there. And they would just spell Yeti, 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 Yeti over and over again in the same color. So you wouldn't be able to see them. But so Google has these things called spiders that pick up all the information to know like how to search for it. So that was the fool that they used to do is they would Yeti, it would be like you would be attracted to like the website that mentions it like 1,000 times. So the backgrounds were all just the font hidden in the same color. Is this your website?
It is. That's where I
Oh,
saw
let's
my
peruse
artwork. I dropped a new collection today.
Oh yeah,
Blurry
where?
collection.
Where on Instagram?
On my website.
Oh, all right. Where is this? Where is it?
If you type in the search, if you just type in blurry.
You have a search feature?
Yeah.
Top
on
right?
the top right.
Oh,
There it is, Dan. Little magnifying glass.
Yeah. Just type in blurry. New collection dropped today.
Amanda,
Yeah.
I like this.
It's my first collection I've dropped for 2023.
Now, what's the inspiration for this?
I just felt like overwhelmed and everything in life seemed out of focus. So it's an expression of that experience of life kind of being out of focus and trying to find clarity.
Interestingly, it seems like it's in focus. Right?
You have the videos on Instagram of you doing all these, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pull
See,
that
I
up
did
too.
research.
Yeah. Look at you.
Go back to the homepage. I like how this podcast is just us perusing your website.
You can click the logo; it'll go right redirect.
Browse
so that's
feelings.
that's my homepage. You can browse my feelings.
I like your art. You're on your tattoo art.
Oh.
Look, Dan doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, I'm doing it on the TV screen up there, so I'm kind of...
It's the biggest monitor you've ever seen. What's an exhibit? Yeah, go to exhibitions.
Oh, yeah,
Just
you
a
work at
list.
Gio's Pizza in Clark Summit right now.
Oh yeah, we just refreshed some work there. It's got a variety of pieces that were created in 2022 that really like pop off their walls. Plus, our pizza is really good.
Yeah.
So I recommend stopping
Highly
by.
recommend Gio's.
Geo's?
Yeah.
So what's the thing that'll motivate you to like, or what's the inspiration for you to have a collection?
It depends on like, I mean, I'm always creating. I just like, it keeps me sane. So I always have something working like in the works. My first collection I created this year was all monochrome. I wanted to,
Oh, really?
yeah, it's not been released yet. It's still getting
Like,
varnished
so it
and
almost
stuff.
looks like a tin type,
It,
or is it just like single,
each-
like two color?
Each canvas only has one color, so orange or green or yellow, in a variety of sizes.
Oh, can I get a peek of this?
Yeah,
Maybe not on the show, but like
No.
after the show. Can I get a taste, Amanda?
I don't know if I have any
You
photos.
have any
I'll
on your
have to
phone?
send you some. Yeah, they're
Hey,
at
just send me
home.
one.
Yeah,
Just so I'm like, oh, okay, this seems.
but I
Those ones. How much are those ones go? Not those ones. The blurry. How much are those going for?
somewhere around the 50.
That's not bad.
No, I try to. So I
See, like we have Travis on here, like Travis Prince, and he's selling his shit for like 10 grand. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
So here's the thing. I do have pieces.
Sorry,
for 10
Travis. I
grand.
didn't devalue your art. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Here's
Former
the thing,
friend
though.
Travis
Former
Prince.
friend Travis Prince.
The thing is you have to have that price variety. I have pieces on my site that are 10 grand because I market those towards a certain clientele, but I also want my artwork to be accessible. So somebody who works at a grocery store or convenience store that relates to a piece, they could afford one.
And are you doing prints, or are you everything is original?
No, I sell prints now too.
Do you really?
Yeah, I
This
set up
is
my
great.
I set up
Did you
my
help?
own pipeline for
Not
that
for
one.
this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What's your own pipeline?
Center City Print.
Oh, the
does
Greek?
He does the printing and
Oh, Alex.
I miss his Greek talk all the time. It's been a long time.
Bro, we got to have him back on.
We should.
We should have him back on.
I wonder
ASAP.
what's going on in Greece.
We should have him and Aja.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have them back. So we started the podcast with Alex, Aja, Micah, and me. And Dan came.
I came like episode 3.
Yeah. So Alex, I love Alex, but he would just fucking. Bro, let me tell you.
That's just like this time in Greece.
It's like everything led back to Greece. There was nothing that
It's just
didn't lead
Greece.
back to Greece. Oh, everything, bro. Let me tell you about the Greeks. And it's just like, and I love him. He's one of my favorite people. Him and I used to not get along, and now he's one of my favorite people. I love Alex Molfetta so much. Center City Print, for all your print needs. He's the best.
We'll send you a bill.
Yeah. He just billed me last week for something too. The bastard.
But yeah, through him, I set up my own
He's the best.
channel.
Yeah.
So he handles the printing and shipping, and I sell as much of my artwork as I can as prints as well. So it's
So how does
affordable.
so now you're a business person, right? So you have costs.
I'm an entrepreneur.
You are. You're a small business owner.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I know.
Yeah, you hate taxes too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overhead, right? So like you have cost of product, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like at the end of the day, whatever you sell that for, right?
Mm-hmm.
With all your expenses and shipping and everything else, like are you making out okay for the prints?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
profiting on prints.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh.
I looked into my return on investment. Make sure my markup. Oh yeah.
Oh.
We have KPIs for this year.
We're gonna get you
to-
voting for Reagan. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be like, oh, okay. No new taxes. Wait, that was Bush. Wasn't that Bush?
I don't think he ever actually said that though.
He did say that. No, I promise.
he never
no
said,
new taxes.
Read my lips. He never said that.
Read my
part.
lips. He didn't say that?
No, I think that's what are those things that were there but weren't there?
Oh, what is that? The Mandela effect it's called or something like that?
Oh yeah, that's it.
Where like you remember something that happened. Like, do you remember Sinbad being in a genie movie?
No.
The comedian Sinbad? Okay, that's one of our Mandela things. You remember that,
Yeah,
right?
but he wasn't.
He was never in a genie movie.
Shaq was. It was called Shazam or Kazam.
Any movie Shaq. Do you ever see Blue Steel?
I did.
It's amazing. Shaquille O'Neal's amazing. He's one of the nice. Do you ever see that dude when he goes to like, he'll go to like restaurant. He was in a jewelry store once, and this dude was in there like looking at a ring to get like to propose, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I can't afford that." Shaq overheard it. He bought him the ring.
What?
Yeah, Shaq does stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Like he's a cool dude. Like he grew up nothing. You know, his dad was really hard. Like not hard, but just like, you know, don't sulk and blah blah blah. You know, he's a good dude. Him and I don't like sports. I really don't fucking care. But watching him and Charles Barkley do commentating on the basketball stuff is hysterical because they just don't care.
I'm sure they probably don't have to care.
No, they have so much money that fire me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. All right, so what's in the future for you? I am. So can I tell you, I'm really incredibly proud of you. I've known her longer, so I can be prouder of her. I'm proud of you too, because anyone brave enough to wear that hat. I'm just kidding. I love that hat. I'm just kidding. Can I wear it?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
want to wear it.
And I say brave enough because it's almost like a trapper keeper hat. Oh my God, look how small your head is.
I know.
That's a look for you.
Yeah. I'm going to continue it just like
Your
this.
next evolution.
Yeah, my next evolution is I'm trapper keepers. This is a totally 80s hat. I love
That
it.
has a really big like Back to the Future 2 vibe to it.
Yeah.
Like you should be working in a restaurant in Back to the Future.
Like
2.
Back to the Future 2.5.
Yeah.
Like the untold story of Back to the Future 2 and Marty. What happened to everyone else when they saw the guy flying through the courthouse square?
On the skateboard.
Yeah, I'm just the guy going like, what the fuck is that?
You need power.
I can't, Jamie. I look ridiculous in that. It's so small in my head. I was gonna fix it, but you have like a clasp and everything. It's like there's like a seat belt on the back of that. Like, holy shit.
You're prepared.
Is that plastic on the sides?
It's like vinyl, probably.
Oh, you could.
So it's also safe for at nighttime.
Yeah.
Does it reflect?
I'm
Where's my
pretty
phone?
sure it
Where's my
reflects.
phone?
It's from
Hold that hat up.
like streetwear company.
Vision Streetwear.
Oh, totally.
Dungeon
Yeah.
Forward. They make my neon little hats that I wear all the
Oh
time.
yeah.
Okay, so the future. Sorry, not back. Yeah, Back to the Future.
We can talk about Back to the Future if you guys want to.
I'm okay.
Nobody ever wants to talk about what I want to talk about.
Dan got an epic shutdown.
Do you want to talk about Back to the Future, buddy?
I don't now.
All right. So what's going on with you? So the business, like what is going on? What's moving forward? Tell me about this team
Well,
of crushing it.
yeah, we're just trying to grow. So as a deviation from the artist Sachiko, we've started to launch Studio Sachiko. So, using my wedding photography, portrait, design, all of these skills and tools I've acquired over the years, and then just branching them as one place that people can hire both of us to do stuff for.
Look at you over there, like, yep. I'm gonna have to pay these bills. I'm gonna have to do the spreadsheet on this. This is gonna be exhausting.
We take turns on the spreadsheets.
Yeah.
I love Excel.
Do you really?
I do.
I
I
love
can't-
Excel too.
Do you really?
Yeah.
So it's like your Tetris for like nerddom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is exactly Excel.
Do you know what it
for me.
does? It calms you down.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
How's that? Okay, so wait, do both of you have ADHD?
I probably have undiagnosed.
You have it
I
though.
have it,
Okay.
yeah.
How bad is it when you're doing Excel?
It's not bad.
All right, let me ask you. Do you guys like making charts and graphs in Excel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I really could get like lost in the rabbit hole. I could make a chart for like 3 hours, and I will work on the colors, the lines, everything until it's exactly perfect.
Yeah.
I love pivot tables. That's my new thing right now.
Oh yeah, when that like works out for you, you can sum it all up. And
What's
my
a
God.
pivot table?
And then you can put a
Look at-
slicer in there, and like it's a whole menu, and you just click on the one thing, and it brings everything.
This
up
is shit.
for
If
you.
you paid me more, I would do these things for you.
This is amazing that you guys are basically speaking Latin, and I have no idea.
It's just ways to look at your business holistically and then look for areas to grow.
I
Is she
just
right?
like making numbers look pretty.
Is she right?
Yeah, I mean it's a way of taking your data and making it presentable in a different way.
So Dan has like a degree in masters or like forensic accounting. So now that you guys went off on Excel, I'm like, this is kind of beautiful.
But the thing is, I hate Excel because like the bane of my existence. Because like I need to do it for a job.
Yeah.
And so like I'm doing things and it like crashes and I lose like an hour and a half of work.
That's why you got to do ABS, man. Always be saving.
And sometimes you forget because you're in such a groove.
I know. Like when you get in the groove, you.
You don't do autosave?
It doesn't always bring back everything I worked on. So like I'll lose like a good 15, 20 minutes of work.
Do it every 5 minutes, man.
Illustrator, man. I had an Illustrator crash incident last
yeah.
week. So I feel
and that's like a 400 megabyte file.
yeah.
Oh.
I had like 3 shirt designs just disappear.
ABS,
like
man.
hours. Oh, I do. Yeah.
I had my editing program set to like every 3 minutes, and then it just got really annoying, so I had to move it to like every 7. But you have to do it, like otherwise you're like, fuck.
Yeah. I've crashed a couple Macs too. That was super fun.
Oh yeah, because they're like all proprietary, and you have to like they force you to drive to Allentown to talk to a kid who's smelling his own farts, and he's going to tell you how to. Oh, we got to keep it for 3 days, man. See you in 3 days. I
2 months they had your computer there. I think it was.
I brought it down like 4 times. It's during the COVID. I'm not making money. Oh yeah, my computer breaks during COVID. So like the little money I can make, my Mac takes a shit. I went down there like every day for like 7 days, and they still didn't fix it. They were gonna get me a new computer. I had like one of those iMac Pros. I'm like this.
Yeah.
I'm like this ain't working. It would just shut off. And they're like, nothing's wrong. We can't figure it out. We did all this shit.
Warranty, man. Replace it.
I had it.
Yeah, they should have replaced it.
No, they were all dicks during COVID. I have phone
Man.
calls. I have angry voicemails, emails. I'm like, I love your product. I've used your product for decades. Fuck you. You can't help me. Steve Jobs is rolling in his grave right now.
Send me as your representative next time.
Huh? What do you?
I don't know. I got some charisma, man. I'm just like, no, this is not how it works.
He's like, I'm putting holes the size of bowling balls in every one of you motherfuckers unless you fix this computer.
I
all
can
right,
tell
so
you a good story.
Tell me.
So, I'm a pretty calm person.
Yeah, I want to
most
hear
of the
about you
time.
exploding. Yeah.
It happened at Big Lots in Dunmore.
Of
Oh,
all
at Ollie's?
places. No, Big Lots.
Big Lots.
Okay, so isn't that the place where you get like $8 rolls of carpet?
Or like fake Christmas trees.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Yeah.
So it was COVID. It was Christmas time.
Santa's everywhere.
Fuck you.
Yeah, there's this lady,
Give me a whack of that. Don't be scared.
you're
You're hiding over there like you
walking
live in DC.
around, like pulling her mask down, coughing on like packaged like Christmas
Yeah, she was,
sets,
like,
gifts
smelling
and
everything.
stuff.
Who was doing this?
This
Some
customer,
lady.
some lady was,
Jesus.
spreading her germs on things. We all have a little bit of anxiety. So
Thanks for the CBD.
You're welcome.
Holy shit.
It's good CBD.
My God. Sorry, Amanda. I'm sure this is a really important story, but
oh man,
I don't like these pens at all.
you're gonna be done in like 4 minutes.
All right, we got to wrap this up. Let's go.
All right, so we finally are checking out with our items, and this customer who was walking around coughing on things,
Like
and
this?
yeah, exactly, sniffing during high COVID, ends up behind us and just keeps getting closer and closer to Jamie, and like she was within like 3 feet of her face.
Yeah.
And I had been calm, and I just turned over and I asked her if she could back up.
Yeah.
That is not
There's a
what you
bubble.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did she say, Jamie?
She said, "Can you back the fuck up?"
Is that what you said?
Apparently.
Like super sweet you?
Yeah. And she told me maybe I should stay home with all the other green aliens.
Green aliens?
So she said, if you're so afraid of COVID, why don't you just go stay home and then go get the shot and turn green like an alien?
See, that's the divisive shit I'm talking about.
So my response was, okay, white trash Karen, and I finished paying for my
Did
order
she have the haircut?
and walked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had a Karen haircut.
How does anybody get that haircut anymore?
I don't know.
That's like the Hitler mustache. Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Michael Jordan did that. Remember that? Like a couple years ago,
He
Michael
was in a
Jordan.
Hanes commercial.
Yeah. And he shows up on set and nobody was like, hey, Mike, maybe go all the way, like get rid of all of it.
You know, when I was at the Times leader, I feel like there was a person there that had that style of mustache.
See, we always refer to it as the Hitler, but it could be the Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
Regardless, no one uses it anymore.
Yeah, it just needs to get nixed.
Do you know why Hitler cut his mustache that way?
Why?
This CBD is terrible. He was in World War I. Okay. And they gassed people. So like, I don't know if you know this, but in World War I, like chemical warfare at that time would be, do you ever hear trench warfare? Like they dig the trenches? Yeah. So chemical warfare at that time would be, you put 50-gallon drums of like chlorine and you wait for the wind to shift and you just pull the tops off. And chlorine death is terrible. But Hitler had a mustache and it wouldn't cover the entire gas mask and he got gassed. So forevermore, he was like that so he could wear a gas mask. There's Michael Jordan. Yeah, look at that mustache.
Oh, that's bad.
Play it. So I can keep coughing.
Hold on.
Look at that.
Guy's really staring over here.
Yeah, none of those people are like...
Must have sold him some carpeting or something. Mike, check out his bacon neck. Bacon?
Yeah.
Sir,
No, it's your
lean
Hitler
forward and
stash
show
we're
Michael
looking
Jordan
at.
your collar. Oh,
Yeah.
See how it's all curled up like bacon in a pan? See how bad this dude looks? What's that? Thank you. Okay. No, that's no, buddy.
Not one of these guys are like,
Flats.
what about the guy with the Hitler mustache?
Twins.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are.
No, we're not.
That ding just...
See what I mean? Yeah. Why didn't nobody say anything about that? That was worth the laugh, though. Thank you, Jamie. Okay, so do you have any shows coming up? Do you have anything going on?
So Q4, I have
What's Q4? Quarter four?
Yeah,
Oh, now you're speaking all business.
Yeah, sorry. I have a show booked at a local winery.
Oh, which one? Can you say? Not yet?
Not yet.
We'll wait.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I have a First Friday show booked in the summer. I'm so bad with dates.
It's in July.
Okay, well, why don't you ask your manager? Yeah, what's going on? Yeah.
And
So
then,
the first Friday of July.
yeah.
Okay.
And then from there, I'm trying to look for another venue to do the monochrome collection that I was telling you about. So just trying to look for an opportunity for that, as well as I have a goal by next year to get into Art Basel Miami. So
What is that?
it's one of the biggest art shows in the world. And
Art Basel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And like lots of major collectors go there.
Sorry, Jamie's trying to kill me.
You know, it happens.
Yeah.
So that's on my goals of to-dos to get into that.
Are you along for the ride, or
Yeah.
are you captaining the ship? Are you running the engine?
I'm trying along with my day job. It's hard.
I mean, it's hard. Like, I mean, yeah, it is hard to be like, it sucks having to work a 9 to 5. Like, it sucks not being able to like be able to do what you want to do and get paid for it. They should get rid of Targets and Walmarts and all that shit so that like actual artists can like, because you know people walk in there and they're like, oh, our bathroom needs something new. Let's get this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, hey,
You could just order
you can
it.
get one of these, and
One of a
it's,
kind.
and it's made with love, not your sweatshop Teddy Roosevelt over your toilet. Hey, I think we're at 2 hours.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to say that like I'm incredibly proud of where you've come from and where you are. And I know that if I say that you should be too, you're not going to believe me. But this one over here with the goofy hat, that might be your best choice that you made.
Aw,
She's a good person.
She is.
Thank you.
Yeah, as long as you guys, and you need to stop being shy. Because you're a really awesome person.
I do need to stop being shy.
Yes. Yes. And we're going to talk about all that other stuff when we hit stop.
Oh, all right.
Thank you. I love you both. And I'm very, very grateful that you're here. Mike is pissed that he couldn't be here.
Well,
He
I'm
lost
pissed
out.
at Micah for not being here.
Do you want to look in the camera and tell him how pissed you are so I can send him that clip?
All right.
Where's the camera? Right there?
Lean closer this way.
Yep.
No, the other way.
No,
Your
this
other
way.
this way.
This way.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Put it into the microphone.
You have to bring it with you.
How do you?
Just pull it. There you
Okay.
go. The opposite of salt and pepper.
Micah, I'm super pissed that you weren't here today. I'm super pissed.
You missed out on a good time. Great conversation.
Okay, now cut to me. I fucking told you. No, and cut to Dan.
I don't know what's going on right now.
All right, everybody, check out Sachiko.
Sachiko.
Sachiko. I'm terrible at phonetics.
Sachiko.
Co. Is it
Means
so?
happiness.
So the website does it really? Mm-hmm. Now I want that as a tattoo.
I thought the same thing. We should get them together.
Did you really?
Yeah.
We'll get it with my wife. She's always down for a tattoo.
I don't have any. It'll
You
be
have
my
none?
first.
You want to get it? You want to get a tattoo?
Yeah, we'll get Sachiko.
Are you kidding?
I don't know right now. If you were gonna if you right now pulled out your credit card, we're going. There's a good chance I would go home with that too.
So it's the artist Sachiko.com.
Correct.
Okay, check out the artist Sachiko.com. All of these are awesome, and you could see them on the website. Thank you so much. And Jamie, we pulled in here because she didn't want to do it, so I'm like, you should. That's the only reason you should. So thank you for being here,
Absolutely.
and make sure you keep her happy
I will.
because I do have a shotgun.
Pennsylvania.
I'm kidding. Yeah, we're going grouse hunting. All right, Dan, you want to say it?
Let's go get tattoos. What a week.